Can you hear me now? Can you? Okay. Good evening. Chanukah Sameach. Afreilichen Chanukah. And I don't know how to say it in any other language, but I welcome you tonight, distinguished rabbis, family, friends, old friends, new friends, and some very, very special people who are here tonight for the very first time in their lives, but we will never, ever forget who you are. And so, it's Thanksgiving in our world, and a second grade teacher wanted to make sure that all our students understood what it was. What is gratitude and what is God? And so she thought she would ask them to depict it visually. Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, I hear static. And so she passed around some pastels and papers and said to her children, in Great Neck, can you draw a picture of God so we understand what Hanukkah is and what Thanksgiving is? And she walked around and watched little Nathan and little Mark and little Sally, and she was impressed. Some drew sunsets, some drew clouds, some drew angels. And then she walked over to little Danny, and there was his picture. Numbers, squares, a border. And she said to him, what is that? Are you drawing God? He says, yeah, that's my God. She says, can you tell me who that is? Who is that God? He shrugs his shoulders innocently and says, I'm not really sure, but every morning when my mom gets up on the bathroom scale, that's what it is. She sighs, she groans, and she shouts, oh my God! Okay. I know, that was an oldie, but it's a goodie, so I took the privilege of saying it again. Thank God, in this room tonight, there is nobody that doesn't know who God is. And there is nobody who doesn't know what gratitude is, what a miracle is. We are here tonight to celebrate three events, or for three reasons. First of all, exactly 1 year ago, our collective Father, our God, decided with the greatest kindness and compassion to come down and listen to his children spread all over the world and bring a miracle out in the open and bring a recovery for my husband, Rabbi Yoseph Geisinsky. But we are also here to give from the bottom of our hearts a thank you which has no description to people from great rabbis to young children to business people to lay people to strangers who became friends to friends who became family and to family who never left us alone throughout the entire challenge. I look around the room here and it doesn't happen to me usually, but I almost cannot speak. I see somebody there sitting in the back who after a full day of work, 11 o'clock in the city, would come up the stairs, up the elevator to North Shore Hospital just to say hello. I see women here who organized dinners, meals, took my kids, brought my kids. I have no idea what they did, but they kept them so happy. I see friends, I see old people, young people. I have never ever yet seen such a community get together on the spur of the moment, without leadership, without direction, and just do what had to be done. Thank you to the entire room and to the entire community for which we are part of. But there's also a third reason we are here. Because I don't know if we would have brought everybody out on a cold Hanukkah evening just to say thank you. Did you ever pay for a repairman to come repair your dryer? He charges you $150 for the house call and then says, lady, you forgot to plug it in. Okay, I know this doesn't happen to men. But have you ever gotten a new piece of technology and you couldn't get it on, you tried and you fiddled, so you finally called the hotline, finally got to a live person, and they say to you, did you press the on button? Is the power there? Ladies and gentlemen, our power button, our plug-in, was our prayers last year. And if you close your eyes for a moment, I'm sure everybody sitting here wants some kind of a miracle, some kind of a blessing. Could be happiness, it could be health, it could be for somebody in your family, it could be wealth, whatever it is. The purpose of tonight's evening is to really, if you don't know it yet, own it, believe it. Prayer works. Prayer is a plug, prayer is a power, prayer is how we reconnect. So thank you all for showing us how much it works and for letting it happen. And without further ado, we will start with a perfect prayer for this evening. Sha'asa nisim lavotenu bayamim hahem bizman hazeh. I call upon somebody who usually stands up here, much more experienced than I am, my husband, Rabbi Geisinsky, to come light the menorah on the 5th night of Hanukkah.
It's my honor and privilege this evening also to honor our EMPs who are here with us tonight. A year ago, to our home, to light with us in the menorah this evening.
EMT, the critical care level of the Massive Lakeville Fire Department, Hidden Portsburg.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mitchell Levine, ex-captain of the Hashem Lakeville Fire Department, EMT, CC. This is my dream team.
I'm Lieutenant Joseph Geisinsky. Good evening. I'm from the Vigilant Fire Company. I'm an emergency medical technician.
Jeffrey Mansfield, I'm EMT.
August 2nd, 1990. Anybody know what happened that date? Any history buff? Okay, I'll remember that date for two reasons. It's a date Saddam Hussein marched into Kuwait, but it's also the day that the Geisinskys came to Great Neck and Chabad of Great Neck was founded. We were here only a short while when I got a phone call from a colleague in Madison that a young lady that was involved with them on campus had moved to Great Neck. And would I have the patience, the kindness, or the time to give her a call and welcome her? Well, that call became classes in her home, became my family's favorite place to swim on the weekend, and became a relationship of many, many years. And as time went on, and Dr. Lustbader and her busy schedule went her way, and I went my way, we didn't talk very often, but it was never out of sight, out of mind. Because 1 year ago, when we stood in the cardiac catheter lab, and there was really nobody there yet, and we had just been there and they had taken my husband for a critical procedure, her number just came to my mind, no iPhone, just remembered it, and I called her, and I said, Dana, is there any way you can get here? And she said, okay, I'm not nearby, but I'll try to be there within an hour. And if you know Dr. Lustbader, in 7 minutes, she was there in that waiting room. She walked in as if an angel in white, professional, calm, dedicated, compassionate, aggressive, whatever had to be done. And in the next couple of weeks, she became not only our medical advocate, she became our family advocate. She dealt with the hospital, she dealt with my children, she dealt with my husband, she dealt with me. And if you know our family, she's been dealing with a lot. And she even made house calls, more than once. They say that every person has a Malach Raphael, an angel that heals them. Dr. Dana has been our angel this past year. She became our sister, our mother, our everything in that hospital. She gave us her room. She took over. When she went on vacation, she called. There was never a moment that we knew that Dana was not a call away. And so, with great humility and appreciation, I asked Dr. Lustbader to come up for a moment.
Such a privilege to be here. It's such a privilege to be here tonight. I never imagined that we would be here a year ago, standing outside the cath lab, many days in the CCU, and as a critical care physician, looking at all the statistics, we shouldn't be here tonight, but we are. And there are a couple of things that come to mind, specifically many days in the ICU when things were looking very bad, and Hani never gave up hope, and the prayers from the community and the visitors and the good wishes were so strong and palpable. I was in the CCU this morning seeing a patient in bed 8, next to bed 9, Rabbi Geisinsky was, and I mentioned to some of the nurses I would be here tonight, and they all were so excited. Oh, that's our miracle in bed 9, the rabbi. They all knew, because really, when the kidneys stop, and the heart stops, and the blood pressure goes, and everything is looking bad. Statistically, it doesn't make any sense, but we are here. There's a strong fortitude that the rabbi has. The house calls were sort of late night house calls, very late. Why would I go to that rabbi's house very late? Well, he decided that he didn't need dialysis anymore. Turns out he was actually right. But it just shows you that his strength and his prayers and his intuition were correct. And we are here tonight to celebrate of the miracle and also the strength of this wonderful and very inspiring family. Just blessed to know them.
A very meaningful gift which says, presented to Dr. Dana Lusbader, when you save one life, you save the world. With genuine appreciation, Rabbi Yoseph Geisinsky and family. For those of you that are familiar and in the medical field, this is the famous Tfilat HaRofeh, the prayers of a doctor. Because a doctor is a very successful doctor when he's also a messenger of God. And our doctors this time were definitely messengers. And so we thank you, and we present this gift. We've all heard time and time again how the Jew moves to the island, and the first thing he builds is 2 synagogues. One for him to go and one for him not to go to. Thank God for all of us who live in Great Neck. We have many, many synagogues. I think the last count was 24 or so. However, the beautiful part about our synagogues in Great Neck is though we may daven in different prayer books and though we may have different styles and different customs, we are all united. We are all one family. I always knew that. I always believed that, but this past year I saw that. I could not believe how many rabbis called, encouraged their congregants to come, to pray, to say Tehillim, letters, emails. The Chabad world was aroused, was shaken. But even in Great Neck, I thought to myself, we're a small congregation. I mean, don't look at the building. Come upstairs. Come to the weekly minyan. And yet, such an outpouring of support. I have this book here, which some of you might recognize, which many of you wrote in last year when you came to the waiting room. We read it again and again and again, and we never stop realizing how lucky we are to live in this community. Truly, Ashreinu Matov Chalkeinu. And yet there's one rabbi that didn't just call, didn't just stop by. He came, his wife came, once, twice, 3 times. People in their congregation were there, and I have to tell you, Rabbi and Abby Lerner went above and beyond what we call rabbinical duty. They really, really made an imprint on our lives. And so I'd like to ask Rabbi Yaakov Lerner of the Young Israel to please come up.
Thank you so much for those magnificent words. They mean a great deal to me and to Abby. What we did just came naturally. We've known you since you both came here in 1990. We're extraordinarily fond of you both. You were our children's teacher in Howard Torah. Many wonderful memories. We have tremendous respect for you and all the amazing work that Rabbi Yoseph Geisinsky have done in our community. I want to talk very, very briefly about tonight in the context of Hanukkah. We all know what Hanukkah is about, but I want to frame it in terms of a very famous question, perhaps the most famous question that's asked regarding this wonderful, very enchanting holiday of lighting the candles. The Beit Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo, was the author of Shulchan Aruch. Before he wrote the Shulchan Aruch, he wrote another work called the Beit Yosef, which is a commentary on the Torah Shulchan Aruch. Before that, he wrote a commentary on the Rambam's Mishnah Torah. In his commentary to Beit Yosef on the Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo says, we understand why we light the menorah for 8 days, why we celebrate this festival for 8 days, because a small jar of oil, a pot shemen, that was only supposed to burn for 1 day, somehow miraculously burned for 8 days straight until they obtained new, spiritually pure oil and continue with the kindling of the menorah. But asked the Beit Yosef, Why are we celebrating for 8 days? As I just said, there was enough oil to kindle the menorah for that first night. And so we should really only be celebrating a 7-day miracle, because the first day was not supernatural, it was merely natural. But Yosef goes on to suggest a number of different answers to this question. One answer, he said, is that they anticipated the miracle. And they actually took a little flask of oil and they divided it up into 8 equal parts. Each night they only put 1/8 into the cup. And yet, somehow, through whose power, that small quantity, 1/8 of the normal supply, was able to keep it going for the entire night. And so even the first night was a miracle, not only the other 7. Second answer that Rabbi Yosef gives is that they actually put all the oil into the cups of the menorah, and it burned through the night, and when they came the next morning to clean it out, it was still full. And that happened already on the first night, and for every other night until the end. And so there was a miracle even that first night. The third answer he gives is that, not that the cups in the menorah were full, but when they went back and looked at the jar after they had poured the oil in, magic! The pot, the jar itself, refilled miraculously through divine intervention. These are 3 famous answers to Rabbi Yosef. I want to share with you a 4th answer. An answer that I heard a long time ago that I think is really beautiful and really speaks to what this evening is all about. When the Gemara describes how they found that one jar, only one single jar, that still had a seal of the Kohen Gadol, was different, tahar, was pure, was not tainted. So Rashi, in his commentary on the Gemara on Shabbos, says that it was mutzna. It had been hidden. It was concealed. It was buried. And that's why when the Greeks came in and they destroyed and completely contaminated everything they could get their hands on, this one jar was beyond their ability to find. And so it was preserved. And when the Hashmonaim defeated them, and they came in to purify the Beit HaMikdash, somehow they had the wisdom to start scratching beneath the surface. And there they found that jar of oil with the seal of the Kohen Gadol. Who was that Jew that decided to hide a jar of oil? In the midst of the darkest moments in ancient Jewish history, when we thought that the Beit HaMikdash would be destroyed, that the Jewish people would be assimilated through Hellenism, that there would not be a Judaism and a God of Israel in the world again, who had the faith, who had the hope, who had the belief that maybe we shouldn't give up so easily? Maybe something that's not natural but supernatural can happen. And let me hide this oil to get ready just in case, because I refuse to make what we call Yesh, to despair entirely. We will never know who that Jew was. But what that Jew did was a miracle. Without that Jew, we would not have the miracle of the menorah. That's what Hanukkah is all about. When the entire world around you is filled with despair, when there's only darkness, when everything is bleak and hopeless and cause for overwhelming pessimism, a real Naaman, a Jew of incredible faith, hangs in there and refuses to give up. Isn't that the whole story of Hanukkah? The real, ultimate miracle of Hanukkah is what we say 3 times a day now, Nahanizim, Rabim Bi'adiyatim, Tameim Bi'ataharim, Shoyim Bi'atzadikim. Who else but religious diehards, fanatics, dreamers, idealists to take on the superpower of the world and decide we, rabbis, priests, the high priests, we're going to lead an uprising and we're going to drive them out of our land. That's what Hanukkah is all about. When everyone else is saying, no, forget it, walk away, it's dark, it's hopeless, it's over, real Jews say, it's not over. It will never be over until it ends the right way, when Mashiach comes and the whole world is illuminated. There were many people last year who thought, Rahman al-Itzlan, that it was too dark to hope anymore. That prayer was futile. But Rabbi Geisinsky would not give up. And she rallied the troops. And she convinced us that we have to continue to daven and to pray and to storm the heavens with Tehillim and to have vigils constantly, because Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to make a miracle for us. That's exactly what happened. It was an awesome lesson for me and for Abby and for everyone in our entire community. It was literally the unfolding of the miracle of Hanukkah right before our eyes. And Baruch Hashem, a year later, we can come here tonight and have a Seudat Hodaa and say, you see, it's true. The lesson of Hanukkah lives on. The miracle of the Jewish people lives on. Rabbi Yoseph Geisinsky lives on. I've made of the Hashem to continue leading Chabad of Great Neck and bringing Judaism to new heights in Great Neck because of what Hanukkah stands for. We have tremendous amounts of hakaras hatov to you, Chani, for hanging in there and teaching us how to hang in there. And most of all, to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for creating a miracle, an open, revealed miracle before our eyes, and reminding us, Jews, we never give up. Thank you.
Rabbi Lerner, words that come from the heart go into the heart. I think the message is here for everybody. Never take no for an answer. And there was somebody else that never took no for an answer, besides my husband. They say that when you find a professional, be it a doctor, be it any professional that will be dealing with you, they don't only need to know their skills, their profession, they need to understand the patient. Dr. Evelina Graver, my husband's doctor, was there not only as a doctor, but as a friend, as somebody who understood him when he said yes, and even when he said no. Dr. Graver is here tonight with her mother and her very special daughter, who I've seen many pictures of, but it is with great honor that I invite Dr. Graver to come up and share a couple of words about her.
Thank you. It is the honor, privilege for me to be here. And Rabbi really never said yes. His first word was actually da, when he actually answered to me. And I very frequently hear no from him. Rabbi, please take this medication. No. Rabbi, please come to see me. No. Rabbi, you need dialysis. No. I was taught facts. I was taught statistics. I only knew facts and statistics before I met the rabbi. So I actually want to thank you for teaching me that there is so much more than facts, and there's so much more than statistics, because you truly beat it all. Just like Dr. Lasbader said, we know what happens when kidneys shut down, and we know what happens when the heart stops, and we always worry as to what really happens when the patient wakes up and how much of their neurological function is really going to recover. And when the rabbi woke up, so I work in the cardiac care unit, and every morning we have the morning huddle, where during the morning the nurses would tell me, the rabbi moved his foot. Okay. The rabbi moved his hand. Okay. And I was so frustrated. I'm like, he has to wake up. I mean, this has to be the miracle of Hanukkah. He has to wake up. He has to talk to me. And I go into that room, and I was so frustrated by that period of time. And like I said, all the nurses knew is that he moved his foot and he moved his hand, and that was a miracle in itself. But I came in there and I said, Rabbi Geisinsky, nothing. Rabbi, nothing. Then I was talking to Hani, and Hani told me about the background from Russia and everything else. And I'm like, you know what? Let me try it in Russian. So I walk in and I said, "You're sick." And all of a sudden, "You're sick" opens up his eyes. There are very few case report forms of people going back to their native languages when they are in coma and when they're not feeling well. And I guess that's exactly what happened to the rabbi. So I am grateful for the fact that I had the ability to communicate with him in the way that he was able to understand me and to able to open his eyes. And it is my pleasure to be his physician, because before he comes to see me, I go over all of my books. I need to know because he's going to ask. And I promise you he's going to say no, but I'm still going to ask. So thank you, Rabbi.
Being in the hospital.
Yes.
So once again, will you read it again?
To Dr. Evelina Graver, present to you, when you save one life, you save the entire world, with genuine appreciation.
Thank you, doctors. It's really, really good. Pulling up in your office. Yes, right?
We say that God prepares the medicine, the cure, before the illness. Many years ago in our Hebrew school, we had two cute little boys. Parents were very busy, both were doctors. We met them, we knew them, occasionally we had Shabbat dinner together. And yet, when we were driving in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, this is the name that came to my mind. Doctor, I hope I can pronounce it correctly, the doctor that's always in the hospital there for his patients, Florentine Abrodesco. He was the first familiar face I saw, and he would not leave until he knew that he was able to. Thank you, doctor. Please come up for a moment.
So I'm Florentine Abrodescu. I'm a physician. And actually I was asked to tell this real miracle story on the night of Hanukkah. I can connect what I'm saying with what the other speakers said, because I met Rabbi Geisinsky with the help of the Osborne many years ago, when I was trying to improve the Jewish education for my children, and they need to have their bar mitzvahs, and the rabbi helped them. Then, when my father came here, a retired surgeon and a Holocaust survivor from Romania, because I'm Romanian, he helped me with, invited my father to the Shabbos dinners. He invited him to events at the Chabad. And actually, when my father passed away, the rabbi was extremely helpful, helping me in the hard moments of those times. Last year, I got a phone call from one of the members of the Chabad, who told me that the rabbi is not doing well, and they're going to bring him with an ambulance to the hospital, and if I can help. Immediately I went down to the emergency room. I was waiting for the rabbi to arrive, and actually he arrived on a stretcher, brought by the EMS people, and he was in complete cardiac arrest. We started to resuscitate him. And believe it or not, we resuscitated for almost 40 minutes. Electric shocks, medications, nothing. After about 40 minutes, the resuscitation team was ready to stop. And I remember asking one of the members of the team, why don't we try one more time? And we did. And actually, it's amazing that moment when I put my fingers on his artery, and I felt a pulse. And I asked my colleague, is this my pulse or is his pulse? And actually it was his pulse. It was absolutely amazing. Life was going back. And what followed, you know. There were incredible doctors, state-of-the-art medicine, an extremely supportive family, a very, very supportive congregation. But I don't think that we can explain this miraculous recovery that the rabbi had. When I met with him after he recovered, I actually asked him, Rabbi, you are the only one that can put it together. We don't understand it. As a physician, I do what I have to do, but I'm extremely humbled by the decisions that Hashem makes. I wish you good health, long life, and it's really fantastic to have you here.
We heard it again and again. We've seen it on their plaques. Whoever saves one life, it's as if they saved the world. Never did I see this in action like I saw last year when I walked into my home after my son called me that his daddy was on the floor, and I saw these 4 amazing, amazing, dedicated people doing everything they could and beyond to help my husband come back to where he needed. Sitting on that ambulance ride from my house to North Shore Hospital was probably, for me, the longest trip I could have been going to Australia. But the quiet courage, the dedication of Mitch Levine, telling them not to stop, keep on going, keep on going. They didn't know my husband, they never saw him, but they dealt with him as if they were dealing with a son. Closeness, compassion, professionalism. I will never ever again pass an ambulance without having a newfound respect for the people that do this. I'd like to call upon Dr. the former head of the fire department and his miracle team to come up for an award. Thank you. Presented to ex-Captain Mitchell B. Levine, Manhasset Lakeville Fire Department, EFCC, excuse my event, New York State Certified Instructor Coordinator, for your noble actions and quiet heroism. We will forever be grateful for your incredible heroism and your noble actions. Rabbi Yoseph Geisinsky, Hanukkah 5774, December 1st, 2013. Thank you. Presenting to Lieutenant Joseph Geisinsky, who holds a very, very special place in my heart, because his mother, I was lucky enough to have her as my doctor, delivering my last 5 children, for your noble actions and quiet heroism. We will forever be grateful. Presented to Ex-Lieutenant Tim Feinberg, for your noble actions and quiet heroism as well. We will truly be grateful. And presented to Jeffrey Talsazan, Great Neck Vigilant Fire Company EMT, for your noble actions and quiet heroism. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for your taking the time to recognize what the emergency medical services in this department, in this area is all about. What you're looking at in front of you are 4 people that volunteer their time as emergency medical technicians, advanced emergency medical technicians, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Their level of training is such that we are taught to bring life into this world in the delivery of a baby, and sometimes at the other end we are taught to restore life once it has left us. And that is what happened a year ago. When we got the call, we don't get the call of Rabbi Geisinsky, we get a call of a person down. Our response is unique. We respond as a finely organized machine where everybody knows their responsibility. Everybody took their job seriously, effectively, and from the time that I arrived on the scene as an advanced emergency medical technician, to the time we got to the hospital, we kept on purpose. It wasn't actually until we were walking outside the rabbi's house that his wife called me aside and said, "Do you know who that is?" I didn't. At that point, while he was still unconscious, we still talked to him and still referred to him as Rabbi. We're going to do what we can to help you. And that is what we did for approximately 15 minutes while driving around an emergency vehicle equipped very similarly to the hospital's emergency department. A tailor once said, "If you bring me finer material, I make you a better suit." Doctors, we brought you the better suit. We brought you the material, actually, and you did a phenomenal job of making a better suit. Now, if you're wondering today, what can you do so that we can come back to more of these events, so that more people can overcome sudden cardiac arrest, I just want you to briefly listen to what Lieutenant Geisinsky of the Great Neck Vigilance Fire Department has put together in his house, what he offers to you. Please, Lieutenant Geisinsky.
Thank you, good evening. I do really want to say that this was nothing short of a miracle. I was actually honored to be the first person that arrived at the rabbi's house. And as the doctor so nicely said before, he's definitely a strong-willed individual, somebody who stands his ground and knows what he wants and says what he wants. And I have to say that this team worked very hard, and we did the best that we could, and I'm so thankful that we could be a part of what has come to be today. I'm going to finish up in 1 second by saying that we actually provided the largest CPR training by a volunteer agency in the nation last year. And I want to instill how important this can be, and we offer this free of charge to anybody that wishes to receive it. So if you do wish to receive this training, we are more than happy to get in touch with you once you contact us, and we are more than happy to work with the Chabad or anybody or any group of people that is interested in receiving such training. So I really have to say, best of health, best of luck, and I'm glad that we could help.
Lieutenant Forsberg, National Lakewood Fire Department.
I just want to express my gratitude, and I'm very humbled to be here. And in EMS, as a provider for nearly 17 years, it's not always that we have a very, very happy end to this. Sudden cardiac arrest is something that doesn't always have the same outcome. It's a very, very narrow percentage of people that come to this type of recovery. So, in my 17 years, this is one of a kind. So, I'm very humbled and very honored to be here. It's a pleasure to meet and to see Rabbi Geisinsky again. And I wish him the best of health in the future, and a happy holiday to everyone.
We were given one set of instructions tonight, and that's to keep it brief. So in brevity, I just want to say, Rabbi Geisinsky, it's the third time I had the honor of personally meeting you. You look great. I wish you many, many more years of life and health.
Amen.
We really don't want to keep you here for hours and bring up the whole medical team. We could if you want. I do just want to mention 2 doctors that are here tonight or will be here that really played a vital role in my husband's recovery, not only medically, but they supported us in many other ways as well. Dr. Kalimi and Dr. Alan Mazarek. I just want to, on behalf of everybody, thank you. Don't tell God how big your problems are. Tell your problems how big God is. Last year, in the most challenging times, when problems were big, we knew God was bigger. Because every time we thought, we dreamed, we thought perhaps we might fall, there were so many people there to catch us. There was particularly one man, a very busy man. He is the director of Chabad on Long Island, Rabbi Seudat Hodaa, who did not skip one day from coming, caring, advising, listening, guiding. He even spent a Shabbos or 2 at Chabad of Great Neck while we were there to keep up the morale and keep the message going. We are not closing shop. There is so much I can say about Rabbi Hodaa, but the night is still young, and it's not getting any younger. And so without further ado, it is a true honor for me to introduce Rabbi Seudat Hodaa to come up first.
Thank you very much, Hani. It's truly a pleasure and an honor to be here today, as all of you can imagine. And I just want to, on behalf of the almost 100 shluchim and shluchos all around Long Island, say Shechianu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu l'zman lezeh. We thank God for the miracle that He brought to us. And as somebody who's not from Great Neck, I have to tell you that I was just incredibly impressed by what I saw during the week or 2 weeks I was intensely involved in the community. As an outsider and coming in, it was just an amazing experience to see how this community came together, as was mentioned before, and as you've seen from so many of the speakers that we have seen and heard from. But I want to give a personal, on the behalf of all of the shluchim and the shluchos, a personal thank you to each and every one of you, and to the doctors, to North Shore Hospital, the community at large, the individuals, anywhere from bringing food into the waiting room to helping out with the family and taking care of the children and completely turning inside out in order to make sure that down to the finest detail, everything was taken care of. It was truly an amazing sight to see. But on the spiritual end of things, I think there was something even more that was going on here. When I heard, or really saw, when I went to Rabbi Geisinsky's house, after he had returned home, and I saw the booklets of all the prayers of the over 1,000 of children from 4 different yeshivas, who all wrote down their prayers to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to Hashem, what mitzvah they would do in order to ensure that he would have a complete recovery. And when I spoke to individuals and I saw the tremendous faith that they had, as Rabbi Lerner said, there was one person who I was most impressed by, and that was Mrs. Chani Geisinsky, who I think deserves a tremendous round of applause. To you, what Mrs. Geisinsky did was more than inspire us to continue to pray to Hashem for a miracle. The Rebbe explained something incredible about the power of bitachon, the power of faith and trust in God. Believing in God is one thing, but saying to God, I believe that you will come through and do this. And the Rebbe explains an amazing feat that happens as a result of this level of trust in God. And he says that that itself is what makes the vessel for the blessing to come down. If there wouldn't be anybody who would have that type of trust in God, to know that without any question whatsoever, this would be the end result that we would be able to see a healthy Rabbi Geisinsky. Who knows how HaKadosh Baruch Hu would respond? But she was the Maccabee who was the one who was saying, this is going to happen. There is no question in my mind, in my heart, and my soul that this will be the celebration we are going to have a year from now. I just want to share with you a story. There was a great rabbi in Europe who, after a long famine, had called on his congregation, as the Gemara says, that it's a time for fasting if the famine goes on for too long. And he invited everybody to come to the synagogue to pray together with him that there should be rain. And when the synagogue filled up and the whole community came, he looked around and he said, I don't understand. We're coming to pray for rain. Why didn't anybody bring umbrellas? Chani had her umbrella the whole time that we were going through this experience. And we learned from her, as Rabbi Lerner said and as others have pointed out. And we should continue that level of bitachon, that level of trusting God in every situation that we're in every challenge that we face. Because we know now, as the children of Great Neck know, we don't just believe in God, that God listens to our prayers. We know that God listens to our prayers. May you continue to go machayil l'chayil, from strength to strength, and for your whole family and the community, may it grow as well. And may you have much nachas for your children, and may we celebrate many simchas together into the future, God willing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rabbi. Those words meant a lot. I just want to say that the books that he is referring to, written by school children of all different kinds of mitzvot that they did, as well as challah bakings that were organized and many other things, were coordinated by Mrs. Chami Azawi, co-director of Chabad of Lake Success, program director of Celestine Hebrew Academy, and our niece, and I just wanted to mention her name, even though I said I was not mentioning any names. So in my house at 5:30 every day, and they're not coming up to speak, it's very exciting. The door opens up, and there's a typical refrain which goes, hello everybody! Loud, clear. My daughters are home from school. And in the morning before they leave, it's bye mommy, bye tati, I love you, goodbye, kiss, 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 hug, hug, hug. And if by any chance I'm busy at the moment and can't respond, and the bus is beeping outside, they won't go out to the bus. They have to hear that response. Last year, there was no response. And I have to say that my children, from my youngest to the oldest, from my son-in-law to my grandson, all of them were a tremendous, tremendous amount of support, belief, and though they refused to come up, and I would never ask them to do this, I really want to thank my family for doing everything that had to be done with happiness, with belief, and being who you are. So, thank you. And finally, Acharon Chaviv, it is my privilege, truly my privilege, to be able to stand here tonight and ask my husband, Rabbi Yoseph Geisinsky, to come up and share what he remembers from a year ago. Thank you, Rabbi.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Hanukkah, everyone. Not much I can add on what we heard already. What I would like to do is to explain a little bit what is this evening is all about. First and foremost, we are here to thank Hashem for the miracle. Every moment is a miracle in life, but some miracles are more special. And we cannot move on in life as nothing has happened. Story told about a man who was dreaming that he came to heaven. And in heaven, an angel met him and he says, I would like to show you around. What is happening here? This man was following the angel and they walked a long corridor and they ended up in a large room in a very busy environment. A lot of angels are coming and flying and going. And the man is asking the angel, what is this room is all about? The angel responded, this is the receiving room. We receive here all the requests, all the prayers, it all comes here. And we take all the requests and we'll bring it to God. Okay. They're going to the next corridor and they end up in another very busy room. And again, thousands of angels are occupied and busy. And what is this room, says the man to the angel. And the angel says, this room is the packaging room. We package all the responses that Hashem gives, all the blessings, and we go to deliver this back to the people down there. Okay, it's interesting. Let's go to the next. And they end up in the next room, by the end of the next corridor, and it's a very quiet room. It's only one angel is sitting there. And the man is asking the angel, what is this room? Well, this room is the room of appreciation. Unfortunately, many people, after they received the blessings from God, they forget to come back to thank Him. So it's very quiet, unfortunately. We are here tonight to make sure that that room is going to be very busy and packed. Because when we remember to thank God for the miracles, God sends new miracles. This evening, as we celebrate the miracles, And we would like to thank the doctors who worked so hard to deal with this patient. It's not easy. And the entire community who came out in prayers. And as they say, in every painful moment, there is also a good point about it. If it's something painful, it means you are alive. If you are hurt, it means you have a heart. In this painful moment, we discovered we have a large extended family all over the world. And everyone, with all our prayers, kept that room up there very busy. And the response came very soon after. So, we are here to thank Hashem, to thank the doctors, thank North Shore University Hospital, such a wonderful job. And we want to thank each and every one of you, our extended family. And we want to tell you that from tonight, every one of you take a one mitzvah. That this mitzvah will be your miracle in life. When you do that mitzvah, you know God is listening to you. Each mitzvah that you take, doesn't matter what mitzvah you're going to do that, but to one mitzvah that you're going to be very special about it. And that mitzvah is going to be your vehicle to all the miracles that you need in life. We hope and pray that we're going to gather only for happy occasions and celebrate more and more happy miracles as we come together. We have with us this evening the students of the Silverstein Hebrew Academy who would like to sing one song for us about miracles. And without further ado, I would like to thank all the people who helped, who were involved from day one till today, and all our extended family that is really, I feel, we were never alone. But now we discovered how in this painful moment, this family was united. And when we are united, God listens. We'd like to show you a short video presentation, and then we're going to go to the children from the Silverstein Hebrew Academy. Thank you.
So on behalf of the producer of this amateur video, a very heartfelt video, she asked me to thank all the volunteers that did it involuntarily. Right after this, when we go into, you are all invited to come in and celebrate with us. You will notice on the tables some tzedakah, some charity. It is said that charity saves from death. So if there's any miracle you need in your life, what better way to ask for it than to begin with giving charity? And there are coins, and I'm going to wish you a happy Hanukkah. Without further ado, we will start the video presentation.
From the children of the Silverstein Hebrew Academy. And who accompany, Nolan Siegel will accompany the children. Please come forward. Rabbi Yosef, Ami.
Thank you. Give them a round of applause again. Such a beautiful job. Ladies and gentlemen, you are invited to come into the next room. We're going to have the festival meal and dancing and celebration. Thank you all for coming.